Welcome back, dear viewers, to season's broadcast of SRAs. Another season so far. We're gonna, open the books to another fresh page and start a new story. That story begins, of course, with the first race of the calendar, Indianapolis.
Looks like he lines up a move. Oh, this is good tight racing right here.
Inside or outside, what's gonna happen?
As turn 7 into the grass, heavy booping the snoot on the barrier.
Oh, side by side into the chicane. Oh my god! Oh my god!
And we're off and away for SRA.
Good evening, SRA Nation. Welcome back to Division 2, Season 18. It still baffles me that we're on Season 18. I joined here Season 12. I know Jack and Adam followed suit shortly after. Actually, there you go. That's one thing to point out. Donovan Colton is not here tonight. Everybody say, this is so sad.
This is so sad.
So
really
sad. Big sad.
It's okay. We replaced Donovan with his ex-teammate from last season, Adam Kolakowski. Welcome to the booth. Welcome to my punishment that I assign to specific people week to week if one person is missing. Funnily enough, Amos Movo, last season's color commentator, we could say, also left after week 1. Well, Donovan's not permanently gone, but yeah. Just replace him every now and then. But it's nice to have you, Adam. Hope you're doing okay. Jack, you as well. But tonight, it's all about business. Going on to the business end of the season, after tonight's going to mark 25% through the season. And I mean, it's kind of insane to think about, but Spa is where we are racing tonight, and not just any Spa, it is a night Spa. So if you're used to those pub lobby experiences in the daytime and still getting into an accident at the top of Radion, well, suit yourselves in for a fantastic time, because we're going to be staring into the darkness as there are no track lights around Spa apart from the headlights of the cars behind and ahead of you. Should be a pretty crazy race, guys. If you watched D1 or D3 last night, a lot of action happened at nearly every single point on the track, which we'll talk about after. But I mean, is this going to be one of the more entertaining races of the season, guys? What are we thinking?
I mean, I certainly think it's going to be. Spa is notorious for all sorts of shenanigans, whether it be through Eau Rouge and Radion, or down in Pouon. Of course, top speed is a little bit of the name of the game, but Sector 2, you're going to benefit, or if you go for top speed, you're going to struggle through all the high downforce corners. It's going to be a good race. I'm really looking forward to this. We got a couple newcomers too that I'm pretty looking forward to seeing how they shape up, and I think it's going to be a good one.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about that after, as we pay attention first to the track map. As Jack mentioned previously, a lot of very famous corners like Pouon, Radion, Eau Rouge. I said those backwards, but turn 3 and 4 are Eau Rouge and Radion respectively. But turn 1, La Source, because this is the GT World Challenge skin, we actually start at turn 2, which is not really a corner. It doesn't have a name, it's just a straight leading onto Eau Rouge. But that's where we're going to be starting. And of course, turn 1 onto the following laps will be a notable overtaking point. Or if you're smart, you're going to wait and stuck into the slipstream up Eau Rouge and Radion and try to overtake onto the Kemmel Straight. Sector 1 is all about getting a good exit from La Source and then heading into probably one of the toughest sequences of corners in all of sim racing, Sector 2. Heading into Lacombe and Brussels, it's a super challenging task. Want to, of course, take the shortest line through the chicane of turn 7, 8, and 9, but then also get on the power as early as possible on exit of 9. Very easy to run wide there. Track limits is going to be another thing to consider in this race, especially at night. It's going to be very difficult to see spot braking points, turn-in points, points on getting onto the power. So we'll see what the drivers of D2 can handle in that regard. But heading into Pouon, turn 12, another very, very famous corner. I don't want to skip over No Name, turn 11. That, in my opinion, is probably the hardest corner on this track because I'm driving the 991. Maybe it's just a trouble point for me there, but I don't know about you guys. I had a lot of trouble there last night.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, I don't think any car feels stable through T11. It feels like you're gonna set it up, even if you do it slowly, and all of a sudden the car just starts slipping out on entry, on exit, on the curb. Just not a fun time.
Yeah.
Even the Mustang's tricky there. Yeah, toughest corner probably on the track. I agree with you.
Yeah, it's very easy to run wide there, and maybe, I don't know, I was running the esports line the whole time.
Were you?
No, not the whole time,
You're
but
killing me with that.
my mom goes to that grocery store. If you know, you know. But heading into the last bits of Sector 2, we got Campus and Stavolo. Very important to get a good exit from Stavolo. That's turn 15. Also very easy to run wide at turn 16, as a lot of people had some trouble there. Namely, me and my teammate, Dan Coran, last night had some trouble with the car, just getting the traction down. Completely flat out past turn 16. Heading into turn 17, Blanchemont and 18. Obviously, very famous corner. Might see some two wides there on lap 1. Kind of don't. I'm hoping that's not going to be the case, but because that could spell for some pretty nasty accidents. But heading into the final sequence of corners at Spa-Francorchamps, we have the bus stop chicane, very notorious for some dive bombs, some side-by-side racing. The right turn becomes a left, so the outside becomes the inside for the next corner. Gonna see a lot of fancy moves set up here. So let's segue into the driver standings. Jack, Adam, let's talk about the story of the season so far.
Yeah, so obviously we had Mason Moffitt, standout performance the first race. He's sitting at the top spot, closely followed by Coach Jeffries on his return, and then Philip Mueller and Thomas Olhausen rounding up the top 4. Obviously big performance out of them in the GTR. They are currently leading the team series, as we'll see. But we do have a couple new faces down the order. Namely, we have Daniel Buell and Anthony Moreira. 2 new names that come from D4. They had huge performances in D4, if anyone was watching that race, and they have rightly been bumped up to our D2 grid. Daniel Buell especially very quick. He currently sits at the top spot in the D2 single lap ranking right now. So very interesting to see how they're going to do. Lots of good stuff.
It's definitely going to be a point to make. And as you can see, I don't even think we can point out Daniel Buelas on the board because there are just so many drivers signed up in D2. 52nd on the list in the championship right now, Anthony Moreira. Of course, bound to change after this race. However, that's not the entire story of racing here at SRA. Of course, we also have the team standings to look out for. It's like you said, the Nissan boys are back and ready to rock and roll. They were, of course, challengers for the team title a couple seasons ago. I believe that was season 15. I think, Jack, you were not in D2. You were in D2.
I was in D2 that season, but I was not competing for the team championship.
That's right. Yeah. But yeah, D2 has been honestly nothing short of very competitive at the top. I think there's a lot of strong teams to look out for. Of course, let's see where Coach Jeffries and his teammate Shane Lewis stack up to the rest of the grid as well. I do want to check. It looks like servers are not yet being populated, so we're going a little bit fast for our own good here. But we can, of course, kind of fill in some conversation in the meantime. But going through the top 10.
Go
ahead.
Sorry, I would like to ask you, since we have a little bit of conversation time, what do we think of Mason Moffitt and Mike Gino? Obviously, Mason had a huge performance week 1.
You know what I think.
Can they pull out? The listeners got to know, though.
They got to know. Well, as you guys may know, Mike Gino separated from his everlasting love with Jason Allen. Jason and D1 now. I don't know if everlasting love is the right word, to be honest, given their interactions. Boys will be boys, right? But Mike Gino left behind in D2. Of course, still, top of D2 is no slouch. I was expecting Mike Gino to be a little bit quicker last week, but alas, it's not. That's what happens when you don't practice too much. But hey, I told Mason to give his teammate a little push. Hopefully that's what happened. We're going to see I hope, some strong performances from the both of them today. I see Mason in the chat saying Mike is trying his best. He's going to prove the haters wrong. I think me and Jason reserved the top 2 spots for the hating. Yeah. Adam, since you're new in the booth, who do you got, let's say, top 3 positions? Of course, we have access to the leaderboards. We're going to go back to the driver standings momentarily just to see how it's shaping up. What are you expecting? I mean, you've been pretty competitive in recent times. You know how cars perform, how they, which ones are good, which ones are bad. What are we thinking?
Yeah, so looking at the Hot Lap leaderboard for this week, we have, looks like, Daniel Wheelis, recent promotion, like Jack was saying, top of the leaderboard, followed closely behind by Mason Moffitt and Coach Jeffries. So that's looking like a pretty good, pretty strong top 3, although Daniel is in the Ferrari 296.
Ooh.
And I know people struggle with the 296, especially in Eau Rouge Radion, having to lift through there, creating problems for themselves and people behind. So yeah, even when I was going for pick Ds and stuff, I kind of avoided people driving the 296s, to be honest with you. So
yeah, it's a fair shout, to be honest. If you want to summon Joel Moffitt, though, that's not, you're gonna have to try better than that. The key word is Lexus, not 296. Yeah,
well,
a lot
closest
of drivers.
top Lexus in D2 isn't until Ian Byron in P10, so they weren't even on the radar. It looks like, which is weird. Really fast car here.
Yeah, I mean, the Lexus, you kind of have to. It's one of those cars that, especially at Spa, we're going to hop on board with Nico Suave taking a little bit of a reconnaissance lap, as we did hop into free practice. The conditions that you're seeing on the board right now are not exhibiting that of which we are going to race at. It's going to be, as we mentioned earlier, it's going to be a night race, but qualifying is going to be at dusk. So it's going to be for some nice photography. I couldn't think of the word.
Photography.
Photography.
English is a second language, folks.
Yep, second language. That's my excuse. But Spa is no stranger to some very, very photogenic scenery, especially heading into Pouan here. I mean, the cars, of course, contributing to that wow factor. We're on board with Nico Suave. Livery courtesy of his teammate Ryan Garrity. Quick shout out to him. He made my livery. Always looking good on track. But yeah, it's the Lexus I was talking about. You have to make some compromises with the setup because you want to be, of course, fast on the straights. It's already a pretty daunting missile on the straights as it is on maximum wing, but it can be even faster, with some lower wing, right? So who doesn't want some of that? I'll tell you who doesn't want some of that. Drivers like Mason Moffitt in the McLaren, so a lot of drivers are going to be combating different setup theories, ideologies, but it's going to be important to get that straight line speed. So Mason Moffitt, previous week's winner, trying to capitalize, and we did skip ahead into qualifying. Let me just quickly reset the view, and we're going to be off and away for SRA for the silvers to qualify. We have so many drivers here this week that Daniel Builes is starting on the endurance side of the pit lane, so it's going to be another thing. This pit lane is very, very long. It's going to be a way to not only conserve fuel, but undercut, overcut. Guys, what are we thinking? I think with the temps, it might be a little bit difficult to pull off the undercut, and Daniel kind of hits the wall there. I don't know what happened there, but that's another thing, right? If you're going around that corner, some cars can't take it flat out.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. It might hurt his the start of his quali. In terms of undercut, overcut for the race, I'm not entirely sure if there's one best option here. I think there's a lot of passing opportunities, so if you want to stay out and keep your tires fresh towards the end, it's relatively doable. And I think that the tire drop-off is strong enough that if you do come in early, you can get a nice boost by your nearby competitors to undercut them, but you're going to have to hold out in the long term. I know that Joel Moffitt did the super undercut yesterday and was really struggling towards the end and ended up losing quite a number of places. Would he have lost those places otherwise? I don't know, but that's for the drivers to decide.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go.
Shades of Donovan Colton's ghost is around. Kind of hoping that he pops in the chat. Maybe he says hello. But we are on board right now with last week's silver race winner, Tyler Egerle. Of course, from last season, D4 champion. A lot of D4 drivers kind of making a name for themselves in Division 2. Gonna definitely keep an eye on the likes of Anthony Morera, who was in the Mercedes, and Daniel Willis, who was in the 296. As Adam previously mentioned earlier on this evening, the 296 can be a little bit scary up Eau Rouge and into Radion. Just the way the car has to be set up. Of course, 296 isn't necessarily known for its amazing acceleration, but once it has room to go, it just goes, man. I mean, the engine just continues to rev in 6th gear, and it goes and goes and goes until it reaches a top speed nearly that of the Lexus on full wing. Can you believe that?
No, because it would take longer than the straight to actually pull that off. But
Yeah.
But I, as the 296 driver in this group, was attempting to run 3-wing, and if I was able to pull off Radion, which I did not pull off in qualifying, but I did in practice numerous times, which is rather frustrating, I was able to match the Lexus top speeds. So if we have any 296 drivers who really want to go balls to the wall, they can match those speeds, but it is not easy.
Looks like Riley Greer made it through.
Yeah, that's good to see. I suspect we're going to see quite a few Ferraris die, especially during the race. I hope not, but I feel like it's a little bit inevitable.
Yeah,
There's something about this car that is just, once it hits Radion, if you are not in the right spot, the exact right spot, it just snaps and that's it. You're done.
Race over. Yeah, I mean, listen, it can happen to anyone, but if you're in a 296 this week, I'm fingers crossed and toes crossed. That's how much I'm praying for you guys. So, you know,
Same for the people behind the 296.
Yeah, speaking from experience, Adam.
No, I didn't get to have much of an experience. My race only lasted till Poulan yesterday, so you know, brutal.
Yeah, I saw you did the same thing that I did in season 14. I tried to save it, then I was too late to get on the brakes, and then just death.
Yeah, and then another car hit me, and then I think another one. I don't know. Yeah, I just got out of there. So
best not to think about it. Good omens for tonight.
Yeah, don't do that, guys. Don't botch your quality either. That's key.
That is important. I gotta say, of course, you know, at all tracks, it's important to get on the front row, or at least, you know, as far up as possible, just to avoid maybe the quote-unquote inevitable carnage that could ensue on lap 1 at Spa. Yes, Kelvin, it is Adam. So there you go.
Hey, Calvin.
Oh, Tyler, I think it's Riley Greer barely invalidating. I know the limits can go pretty far away. Yeah, he kept it on the road though. Tyler Egerle still P1, kind of resuming where he was last week with a 17.945. But a lot of silver drivers have yet to cross the line. I know, let's see, any Spa experts in the silver class, apart from Daniel Willis. We'll obviously keep an eye on him. Obviously a little bit later out of the pits, but even Anthony Morera, of course, looking to make a name for themselves in this new division that they're in. But already 5 minutes left for these guys. You know, Spa is probably one of the longest tracks, longest GP circuits that we have on the calendar, in the game in general, apart from, you know, of course, hate to mention it, but Nordschleife. Keep your boots on, guys. There's no reason to go crazy. I know, Adam, you love Nords, don't you?
I do not. I get chills every time I hear that name mentioned.
Oh, that makes
and I love
two of us.
Rally too. That's like the closest thing to Rally, but I
don't know though.
Breeze and ACC on that. It's not. You know, it's It's not for me. It's just put it there.
Yeah. Daniel Buelas, P2, look at that. Tyler Egley's still holding strong, but speaking of Tyler Egley, he's 4/10 up on his Delta, which, can we get a quick check on where he was on the leaderboard this week? Because, curious.
Yes, sir.
He's up 5/10 right now. We'll put him at a 17-4, which seems pretty quick for the silver division once again.
17.522 is his best time on the leaderboard.
Well, there you go.
He's
Wanna
about
be in it to win it.
beat it or match it.
In it to win it. Yeah, big turnout, Dan. We got 48 drivers in D2. Kind of insane. We're actually utilizing the other part of the pit lane for this week, which, you know, a couple seasons ago would have been normal, but now with the dwindling numbers, you know, people leaving here and there, this is so sad. But
It's a
Brutal
it's
call out.
revival. It's revival.
brutal call out. Tyler Egley coming across the line,
Oh,
7/10
huge
up
time.
on his time, putting a 17.2 down. So there you go. Personal best for the silver class leader. Daniel Buelas is also up. A couple drivers as well. Kevin Kovac in P7 is up half a second. Going to put himself into P2, but still 8/10 behind the lead silver driver. Can we get a promotion for this man right now? Is that possible? I know Dan's in the chat. Can we get a
Already, huh?
Can we change this class right now?
Well,
You missed his race already.
One thing you did mention, Anton, is kind of like Spa experts. Obviously, Spa is a track that is very often played in public lobbies, and people every once in a while have huge time played on this track. So it's one of the few tracks in the game that will very regularly have random people that are just almost punching above their weight class. So perhaps Tyler Egley is one of those guys where he may be silver most of the time. Some would argue that he's definitely not a silver, but in this particular case, he may be a silver for most of the time. But when it comes to Spa, he might be well above the rest. I mean, we saw it with Kevin Blanchett.
Oh,
that dude was
not again! Why are we? I was just about to see Daniel Buelas cross the line, very close to pole, and okay, there we go. Now I'm updated. Oh my god, that margin is so tight. Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Jack, but we just had a.
Yeah, no, that was good.
Yeah, that was insane.
There was spice, and the servers were going a little bit haywire, so
Yeah.
a little bit of extra spice there.
I was kind of hoping we could see Daniel Buelas cross the line. He did lose a little bit of time leaving the exit of the bus stop there. He was up about a second from his previous time, which would have put him maybe a 10th clear of Tyler Egley, but the exit of bus stop is just so hard to get right, especially with low traction that the corner just is. You know, you have to be on the power early enough for the Ferrari. It has to be on lower TC as well. A couple of fans of Daniel Buelas as well. Good to see you guys in the chat. Welcome to the D2 streams. Good to have you here. A couple of holdups. Looks like Jackson Thomas in the bus stop there. A little bit off the track. Let's see what happened here. Maybe just pulling off for the guys behind him. Maybe, yeah, it looks like he just invalidated. So that's another thing. We have a lot of track room to give each driver, so the gaps are pretty good. Maybe get a cheeky slipstream down the Camel if you are confident in the driver ahead of you. Gotta keep it on the road. But as the gaps currently stand, Tyler Egley is still holding strong in P1. Daniel Buelas right behind him. Anthony Morera right behind Daniel as well. So the two newly promoted drivers are 2 and 3 at the moment. So they're not playing around, guys.
Not at all.
They're swinging for the fences, coming out hot.
Love to see it. Very
Yeah,
competitive.
So it's pretty interesting. We did mention track limits. Track limits, very big deal at Spa, especially when it comes to qualifying, because there are so many places to lose your lap. I, for one, managed to not even set a lap time yesterday, which was great. I've been keeping track of any of the silver drivers here as we're running down on their time to see if there's anyone on that limit of not setting a lap time. Currently there are 2 drivers without a lap. Make that 1 actually. So Sig SVG was 1. He just set a lap good for 20th spot. And Jackson Thomas, who we just saw pulling off to the side, needs to set a lap here if he doesn't want to start from the very back of the grid.
Still some improvements across the board. Tyler Eggley is about maybe half a tenth up on his delta, falling away a little bit, but Kevin Kobach on the screen right now. GTR just throwing that Godzilla around. Piff Paff there into Campus, into Stavilo. Just got to get a good exit here for the Nissan. Might be a car ahead of him. I believe that's Riley Greer, car 93 in the Ferrari. Got to keep it inbounds here at Stavilo. Very close, pushing the limits. About a tenth behind Tyler Eggley's pole time, but Tyler's also improving. So Kevin's going to have to pull a bit of a blinder here, heading into bus stop. The GTR is going to roar past into Blanchimont here. Look at the courage of these drivers flinging that car into the apex, across the limits of the curb. Going to have to get a good braking here to bus stop. Late in the brakes, hard in the brakes. Going to trail it into the apex, eating a lot of that curve. The GTR can just do that on the power. Oh, it's gonna be close. Oh, it falls away a little bit, just like with Daniel Builes, and it's gonna put him into P3 right behind the Ferrari 296. So that's gonna be an interesting storyline to look out for at the start of the race. A couple of other drivers still on a lap. Sean Curcio is up about a second, could put him very close to the top of the timing tables in a Lexus. I might be mistaken, weren't him and Lucas Clenzeris in the 296 last week? I believe they were. Recall. They were rocking a Miller Lite livery, right?
Yes, you're right, they were.
Oh, there you go. So they forfeited all their points.
They've forfeited their points and their lovely livery.
Unfortunate.
For this track, I suppose?
I hope so. Maybe they can get that sorted and put that on that beautiful Lexus. I'm sure Joel's gonna be very happy to see another Lexus on the grid, right?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, D2 has, right now I did see 2 full teams and 1 solo in Ian Byron, so there were only 5 of them. That may not be updated then. Let me look at the original signups.
Oh my god, Donovan's here. Everyone say this is so glad.
Yeah, so that is updated. So we have essentially doubled the amount of Lexuses with their switch.
I blame Donovan.
Or no, Sean Curcio has 17 points. Maybe this website isn't updated, but they are High Life Racing, so I believe they were in the alcohol inspired liveries, but the website has not replaced their points. So,
well, they're still gonna have the standings. It's just not gonna count towards the end, just because, like, you can't really get rid of an entry just like that.
Yeah,
maybe until after this race. However, it is a clean slate for them, no drop race, and that's could come into play maybe of Sean Curcio. I mean, he's got some pace, obviously sitting P4, under a 10th behind Tyler Eggley. I mean, the silver qualifying battle was very, very tight. Gotta say, it was very entertaining to watch. On board right now with Mason Moffitt, watching him throw the McLaren 720S Evo around Sector 2, heading into Brussels, into No Name, following up. Let's see how just patient drivers have to be entering this corner, just getting on the power a bit later than the apex allows you to. And look at that, the esports line is right there, but he doesn't take it. I'm just waiting for someone to do it. I don't think we're gonna see it.
I hope they don't.
Oh, Anton's doing it. It must be good.
Yeah.
Something like that, right?
That's the story, yeah.
Let's see. Let's hop on board with the coach. Last week was in P2, the BMW. Gotta say, I did a couple of laps, felt pretty solid. It drives a little bit weird because, the top speed, the wing doesn't really affect how much top speed you gain as much as I thought it would. Going from 8 wing to 5 wing, it was a measly gain of maybe 1.5 kph, which if you look at the sector times, Sector 2 being the longest one of them all, the 8 wing just helps so much more there than you would benefit in Sector 1 and 3. So, depending on the setup, let's see what Michael Jeffries is going to do as he goes through the bus stop chicane for the first time. Going to set his first flying lap. Here are a couple of drivers crossing the line already. Martin Smith sitting in P14. Nico Suave nearly up to P8. Michael Jeffries into P8, replacing Nico Suave, pushing him down into P9. So 17's on the board. Mason Moffitt immediately, immediately going into pole position with a 16.7. Wow. What a lap.
That's a good lap. That beats his best on his opener lap, so that's pretty good.
Wow. All right, man. All right, Arjun, wrap it up. He's on your fantasy team. Just go do your Brady at Coda next week. We got it. We got it. A couple of other drivers I want to point out. Let's see. Where is... aha. Crimson Bat. Last week's pole sitter in the Lamborghini. Obviously, we saw Michael Manning take pole position and the victory last night in Division 1. Lambo looking pretty solid. I assume, obviously, running lower wing. It can get up there in top speed. It's one of those cars, of course, the wing does affect it pretty well. Naturally running max wing nearly everywhere, especially in qualifying, but Spa, one of those exceptions. So, gonna be interesting to see the top speeds of every single car. We do have that data available to us in the race setting to see what the top speeds are, but Crimson Bat immediately going wide on this first attempt through Radeon. Not easy in these cars. They're pretty heavy. Got to get the right line heading through a Rouge. So, not too much time left on the table for Crimson Bat as qualifying ticks down to under 4 minutes already.
Yeah, and he did mess up his first lap as well, so assuming that was a cut there, he's gonna have to, yes it was, he's gonna have to lock in for this next lap. I think he's probably gonna get definitely one more, probably not one after that based on where he is on track, so it'll be tough.
Indeed. Paul Kreska up about a second and a tenth and some change. Maybe climbing. Of course, the tires still warming up. Some time to gain. Maybe in bus stop. Let's see how the BMW negotiates that set of corners. Thomas Olhausen jumping up into P9. BMW under braking. Seems to be pretty confident on the throttle through the bus stop. A little time falling away there as well for Paul Kreska, so it's going to be a second improvement, putting him into P2, but still, like we saw with Tyler Egerle at the start, quite a ways off of the division class leader of Mason Moffitt with a 16.7, improving slightly into turn 1, but then it falls away. So, might not be the lap here for Mason Moffitt, but of course we still have an entire track to go, so we'll see how Mason improves as the lap goes on. Let's hop on board with Ian Byron in the Lexus. Let's see how he is handling approaching our Rouge in the Lexus, possibly running lower wing. Lexus is known to actually take flight if you're running too much wing here. I know that from Donovan, so I wonder...
Wait, takes flight with too much wing?
Yeah, yeah. Same thing at Nords, you actually have to run lower wing there. Interesting,
so
isn't
much
it?
downforce that it knocks the nose up.
Yeah, you have so much downforce. It's actually a real thing, though. No kidding.
Must be a real shame to be in the fastest car and then be forced to run a setup that makes you faster. Like,
oh no.
Oh, it's just so terrible.
Oh my. Let's hop on board with Mike
Speaking
Gino.
of top speed, though, Mason Moffitt is actually the second fastest car right now.
Well, there you go.
Sean Curcio hit a 274. Travis Tatro has also hit 274 in his 296. There's a couple other 273s. But yeah, Mason Moffitt 274 or 273 in his McLaren, so he's definitely going for the top speed there over high downforce in sector 2.
Yeah, the nice thing about the McLaren at least is that even with the low wing, it's actually just strong enough on the mechanical grip side that it can still be fast in sector 2. It's just the beauty of the McLaren. It's probably the easiest car to kind of just like put on a setup and be like, okay, I know that it's going to be fast, so I just need to, you know, drive conscientiously and put it on pole like Mason Moffitt's doing right now. Trey Morgan tracking pretty close to Mason Moffitt, going to be the closest one so far, only 2.5 tenths behind into P2. BMW 234 locking out the front 2 rows of the grid right now, but led by McLaren at this point in time. Let's see who else is improving on their deltas. Martin Smith dead even on their delta. Wilder Vargas jumping up into P12. Let's see.
Like Gino with a big drop right now on pace.
Oh yeah, look at that. 7 tenths up. Let's see if Jason Zex can pull it together on his final lap. A little bit cautious on the exit of No Name. Of course, wants to get a valid lap in and wants to get a quicker lap in. Going a little bit wide there at Puan. Not an easy corner. Again, we talked about the sequence of corners in Sector 2 being quite difficult. Ian Byron in P29 RTGing. So there goes my pick these pick. No pressure, Ian. Mason Moffitt still improving. So is Michael Jeffries. So is Trey Morgan. Trey Morgan's actually improving quite a sizable amount as he goes into the hairpin, then loses it all. Looks like might have gone a little bit too wide. Under braking there, but is gaining it back ever so slightly. Mason Moffitt is still improving, so his first lap, his banker lap, was good enough for pole position at this point. Of course, still provisionally at this point in time. However, Mike Gino still improving. A couple of other drivers, Dylan Bonsall improving. Who else? Ren Aoki has not set a valid lap yet. Sitting in P48. Let's see if he can keep it on the track just to get a lap across on the board. Mason Moffitt still improving. A couple of other drivers nearing the final corner. Mike Gino, let's see what he does. 7/10 up. It's going to propel him probably towards the top 10 if I had to assume. Falls away a little bit on exit from P30 to P15. So good improvement there for Mike Gino, having his positions from P30 to P15 at the dead of the lights. Travis Totcher improving. Mason Moffitt no longer improving, actually invalid. And Ren Aoki is stopped at Puan, so might have had a Mercedes trademark moment there. So he's going to be starting in P last, right behind Sean Leach. A couple of other drivers still on laps though. Mason Moffitt, like we said, improving. We see Michael Jeffries improving a little bit. Oh, just ahead of Trey Morgan. So he's going to start right alongside Mason Moffitt. So the 1 and 2 finishing positions from last week are going to be the starting positions of this week's race. Unless Travis Tutro and Ryan Garrity somehow find 9/10s in the last corner.
Just skip the final chicane.
There you go. That's the line, right?
Yep. That'll count.
Travis Tutro negotiating through a bus stop pretty well. Gets some time on exit, about half a tenth. So it's going to be 3/10 improvement from P16 to P10. So pretty solid for Travis Tutro. Another top 10 start for him. Love to see it. In the meantime, until before the race starts, we're going to head into a quick ad message, and then we're going to run through, of course, the starting grid. Don't go anywhere, folks. We will be right back.
A huge thank you to our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting us here at SRA, as well as support from Documise, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documise.com to learn more today. And support from Retro Saga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favorite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. And a big thank you to our affiliates, Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high-quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE at checkout to support us. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. AT 3D Sim Shop. Upgrade your sim racing experience today with premium 3D printed accessories featuring precision crafted magnetic shifters, sleek cable management solutions, versatile stream deck mounts, and immersive dashboard displays. Their innovative designs enhance performance and style, elevate every lap with top-tier quality and craftsmanship at at3d.net. Go Setups, premium esports setups for everybody. Use our affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level. Castle and Cauldron, a home-based crafting business specializing in handmade Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts and Fairy World collectibles. Magic wands, potions, mini dioramas, wall decor, costumery, cosplay, and much more. Castle and Cauldron is where crafting meets the magical. Visit facebook.com/Castle Cauldron. And from KP Concepts, your source for custom automotive renderings, graphic design, and printing. We spend countless hours making you look all good for the spectacle. Check out kpconcepts.com for more.
And a new SRA sponsor, Echoes of Nox. Explore an abandoned space station as you uncover the secrets of why you were left behind. Fight with 3 AI factions and reclaim the station. Wishlist Echoes of Nox on Steam today, releasing in Q2 of 2026. That is a live ad read every single time, so maybe maybe my tone will be different as the season goes on. Well, we are here, and I didn't click Shift F7. We are here. I wanted to run through the liveries, but looks like I forgot. But we are off and away for SRA on the formation lap, heading through Eau Rouge and Radion, and as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, it is dark. It is nighttime at Stavelot, Belgium, as the spectators look on to the very brightly lit track. Definitely not because of the image contrast and exposure gain settings that I changed before this. If you know, you know.
Yeah, I really wanted to see the classic "this is the best thing I've ever seen" meme, especially when watching, say, Le Mans at night or Nords at night in real life, and it's just headlights. That's the best. Unfortunately, we don't get that because you have to mess with the light settings there, and now we can actually see. How dare you?
All right.
How dare you, Steve?
How dare you? We do it for the spectators, you know. Anyway, we're gonna run through the grid, and Jack had a very, very interesting question that I wanted him to ask during the live broadcast. But we're gonna see, of course, Mason Moffat starting on pole, going back to the front as he finished last week's race on the top step of the podium. Michael Jeffries right behind him in P2. BMW sandwiches, or honestly, just not even a sandwich. It's just a It's a cluster of BMWs. We have Trey Morgan in P3. A sausage of BMWs in P3 and P4. We have Powell Kreska. So two teammates right next to each other, Trey Morgan and Kreska, starting 3 and 4. Let's see if they can put a dent into that team championship this week. Tyler Egley, very strong performance from him in qualifying. A lot of solo drivers actually starting in the top 10. Nico Suave, pretty strong qualifying performance from him in P6. Daniel Builes, newcomer to D2, of course, from D4, starting in P7. Kevin Kovac right behind him on the grass, interestingly enough, in P8. Sean Curcio in P9, and we did confirm that he did switch to the Lexus from the Ferrari along with his teammate Lucas Clonzeres, and there goes Kevin Kovac right back to his grid spot. We're going to see Travis Tatro in P10, of course, top 10 start once again for the Ferrari driver. Thomas Olhaz in P11. Got to run through these names pretty fast because there's a lot of them. Martin Smith in P12, right behind him is Zamora in P13. Anthony Morera, another D4 driver, newly promoted to Division 2. In P14, Wilder Vargas in P15, right behind him. So, you know, pretty decent performance from him in qualifying. Let's see if the 296 driver can keep it on the road on lap 1 through Eau Rouge and Radion. It's going to be interesting to see. Right behind him is Ryan Garrity in the Mustang. That's Nico Suave's teammate. Right behind him is Philip Mueller, P17. Mike Gino in P18. Juan Carr in P19. Pat right behind him in P20. And then his teammate Sean Williams in P21. Rexy and Roxy sporting once again for seemingly the millionth time in SRA. Roger Rodriguez in P22. Barry Jerry in P23. Matt Art in P24. Pablo Ferrer in P25, Justin McKechnie, and delivery is present this time, Arjun. I know you asked earlier. Crimson Bat in P27, so wasn't able to get the best qualifying performance as last week. In P27, we got a P28, Caleb Tenney, Riley Green, P29, Dylan Bonsall in 30th. We have Ian Byron looking to make some positions on the start of the race. In P31, Shane Lewis in P32, Bearded Badass in P33, right behind him is Lucas Clonzeres in P34, Potts Weaver in P35 in the Ford Mustang GT3. Right behind him is Martin Riggs. We got P37, DJ Watts, Mr. Arrive and Drive himself in Alexa starting P37. We got Steve Foster, P38, right behind him. Jess Osborne in P39. We have Sig SVG in P40, Mac Morgan P41, Jackson Thomas P42. In 43rd, we got Ramon Lorenzo in P44. In the tail end of the grid, we got Tony Zygmunt as the drivers are starting to line up side by side with each other. They're approaching, going a little bit wide there at Blanchemont. Interestingly enough, we got Curtis Lee in P45, Travis Fletcher in P46, Sean Leach in P47, and rounding out the grid towards the back, Randy Aoki in P48. So, Jack, tell us your question. We got a little bit of time.
Ladies and gentlemen, put in your votes. Are we going to get a big one?
I'm voting yes.
Oh, okay, we got one steward saying yes. We got two more stewards in this call. We got Dan Cran in the chat. Of course, head steward himself. I'm saying yes as well because I just want to see it. I'm going to dread looking at it later on this week.
Oh wait, I can commentators curse people now. I just realized my power. This is dangerous.
It is very dangerous. I have a very big red button next to me. I'm ready to press it whenever. The time is now for the drivers to line up side by side. Michael Jeffries and Mason Moffitt, the two title contenders for the time being at the early start of the season, are going to line up side by side, crossing over the bridge. We are a go for SRA. Good start for Mason Moffitt. Side by side though with Michael Jeffries. They retain the outside line. It's going to cede position. Going to tuck into the slipstream though. Let's see, go towards the back. Looks like so far so good. No big ones for us yet. Jack Krause, driver dipping into the grass. I believe that's Mike Gino, and everyone gets off away and clean. But we got the Camel straight. This is going to be a very big focal point for the race. Almost 3 wide there with the BMWs. Mason Moffitt going cleanly into turn 4 of Lacombe, into turn 5, 6, and 7. So far, no accidents, and I don't want to jinx anything yet. Side by side there with, I believe that's Kreska and his teammate. We're looking on board with Tyler Egley, seeing what he's seeing on board right now. Please no touchy as we see Crimson Bat spun around at Lacombe. A couple of other drivers, I believe that's 97. That's Travis Fletcher of the Aston Martin. The Pokemon red and blue team, but looks like the teammates fighting on lap 1, and Kreska gets the better of Shane Morgan, and Mason Moffitt gets very crucially gets away well. But of course lap 1 isn't over. Hopping on board with a couple of other drivers. Nico Suave defending from Kevin Kovac. Let's start. Oh, the Nissan getting a little bit out of hand. It's going to be side by side, inviting Daniel Builes on the inside, heading into campus, and as well Travis Totro. Oh, I don't believe Kevin Kovac saw in his mirrors that Travis Totro was there. Hold the brakes, and there's an accident at campus. Cars, oh, hold the brakes. Oh no, we gotta avoid. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, there it is, guys.
No.
I think my prediction might have been delayed, but
it was
might
delayed.
have been slightly correct.
Oh, the contact data is populating so fast.
Oh, you have the
it's still
contact data
going
on?
too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's still going.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Yeah, just a quick reminder of what happened. Looks like the big one has happened as Jack predicted, as I predicted, as Adam predicted, just not in the place that we thought it would, which I suppose is a good thing, but it's also bad. Yeah.
Goodness, this lap 1 has been crazy. There's been yellows left, right, and center. I can't even keep track with them all.
What happened to Matt Artem here?
I think this is Matt Arm's second incident as well. He had one up at turn 11. What? Oh, that was nice.
Oh. Okay.
Style points.
Style points. I suppose, Jack. Well, lap 2. Here we go. We have more yellow flags.
There are more yellows.
Oh, yellow everywhere.
No, we're just gonna assume that I believe Sean Williams is 720. A couple of the drivers going to the pits already on lap 1. I assume that's got to be because of the damage. Where is Sean Williams? Is he parked on the side of the road?
He is now turning around.
He was, I believe, on the inside turn backwards. 1. Not ideal start for the Roxy driver. But looking back ahead to the front of the grid, Travis Totro, one of the drivers that was involved in the incident with Kevin Kovac, on lap 1 heading into campus. Mason Moffitt clearing away the leader at this point in time. That was the most Will Buxton impression I could have done. But he is over a second clear of P2 Michael Jeffries. So is this going to be one of those runaway, forget about your mirrors races for Mason Moffitt?
I'm sure he's hoping so.
Looking like it, right?
That way. Although, you know, the BMWs are probably scrapping a little bit. Holding each other up, letting them run away.
Yeah, I mean, never say never.
Speaking of the BMWs, obviously it's quite early, but do we see any team orders from Kreska and Morgan? That could be pretty interesting if they're both trying to fight Jeffries for P2 and 3 instead of catching up or messing around with each other and slowing each other down. That could be interesting to watch.
Yeah, let's briefly segue into, a segment about strategy. Again, we saw, of course, a lot of drivers going into the pits due to unforeseen circumstances, or rather, maybe expected circumstances. Undercut is, of course, very, very strong in these sprint races, but Oh, Michael Jeffries taking purple there with a 218.5, about a 10th quicker than Mason Moffitt last lap. So it's not over until it's over. Of course, we have 55 minutes of race time left to go, and we don't have any safety cars, so no one's going to be bunching up anytime soon. It's all going to be down to pace, the strategy, which we were talking about right now. The undercut, again, always good in these sprint formats, as long as you can keep the tires under you, of course. Especially through Spa, I feel like the tire wear can get pretty easy to feel out. Gonna have to move to the left as the drivers come out of the pits. It's Ian Byron on the right of Trey Morgan, and oh, that's gonna be somebody. Wilder Vargas tucking in behind Trey Morgan. Daniel Builes leading. So Tyler Aguilera actually lost a position to both Nico Suave and Daniel Builes. So from D4 immediately to D2. Leading silver. And not just in silver, top 5 in D2.
Up to position from the start. Actually, look at some movers. We had some pretty big movers on here. Zygmunt up 20 positions from the start. Aoki up 22 positions. Lee 18. My goodness.
I can only assume why.
Yes.
They avoided the
Matrix
carnage.
action.
They made it through the big one.
Dave, I'm not disrespecting anybody. The only person I would disrespect is you. I'm kidding. Oh, that was a bit wide for Tony Zygmunt there. Anyway, let's hop on board back with. Let's see the Lexus power. Right, of course, following a Ferrari, right behind a Mustang, Ferrari has that capability to get up there in top speed, but the Lexus has enough horsepower to keep up with it, especially in this section, right? It's gonna have a much better exit, and we're already seeing it right now. Where's Travis gonna go? Of course, a lot harder to pass around the outside. He's gonna. Okay.
Oh no, not like that.
Well, that's one way to pass an opponent.
Guess we'll leave that to the stewards room, eh, gents?
Okay.
Yeah.
What would Donovan say from Red Bull Ring last season?
This
Oh,
is so
no.
sad. That's so sad.
Oh, Curtis Lee also dead in at Blanchimont. 826. I don't even know how to describe what just happened. Yeah, Dan, that's exactly my reaction. I did. Of course, as a commentator, 100% biased, but my stewarding brain is going off. What are we doing? Not
What
yeah. Not
are
what you
we
wanna
doing?
see. Yeah, there you go, Bailey. He just says wow.
Yeah.
Of course.
That's
Should have thought of the wow.
Yeah, wow. Anyway, going back up. Yeah, the gaps really haven't moved. It looks like everyone's driving a little bit faster than they were the last before. Fuel's coming down. Tires are finally getting into a nicer window, but don't want to overdrive the fronts. They can get a little bit spicy on you as this thing goes on, especially going on into the 20-minute mark, especially when you're trying to consider strategy calls, you know, especially in this case right here, talking about Trey Morgan with team orders. Looks like Kreska isn't doing much to catch up to Michael Jeffries. Last lap, let's see if I can get the data on that. Last lap for Jeffries being at 18.5 and Kreska at 18.6, so actually not too far behind Trey Morgan, actually the slower of the three drivers. But it ain't over till it's over. Keep saying that over and over again, but especially in a race like this, almost a race of attrition with the track limits, with very interesting overtaking maneuvers that we've witnessed. Anything can happen, right guys?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything.
It had to be done.
In honor of Donovan.
The one, the
Rest in
only.
peace.
Oh, is that a Martin Riggs incident I see on the minimap? I do want to pin over to that, but
they are both stationary.
oh, that car is mangled. Oh, I'm quite glad we didn't catch that. Looks like that it was involved with Mac Morgan. Stand corrected. But Yeah.
We also have SIG SVG completely stationary, facing backwards.
What is happening? Guys, we're on a straight. What? What? I don't even know how one gets to this position. I mean, I suppose I could improvise a little bit, try to mount the curb, go for a little, you know, from some wheelie action, jumping the curb onto the grass. But he is facing the right way now. I think he's gonna quit the race. Unfortunate for Sig there.
Interesting choice to quit the race after sitting on the straight for as long as he did.
There's another. Oh no. What?
Is everyone just lost in the dark? What's happening right now?
No! Oh no!
Oh no!
Hold the brakes! Oh my god! Wow!
Good
Honestly,
avoidance
masterful
from everybody.
avoidance from everybody.
Guys. Wow. Yeah.
Wow, Donovan is missing a fantastic race.
We also have another death at Radion.
Yeah, that's Curtis Lee.
Curtis Lee.
Do I want to go back? I'm not going to go back. I'm going to save him the trouble, the humiliation. It looks like there was a bit of a server mismatch because the lights are off again for everybody, which is kind of annoying because everyone kind of just has to drive in the dark. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, Mason Moffat's got his lights on, but barely. I don't even know how to describe what this issue is. But Tyler Egley is apparently right on the back of Nico Suave. There we go.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. We have a word for that, Adam, right? Can't say it on stream though.
Can't say that on here. This is a. Yeah.
This is a
family
sacred
show.
space. But look at this Mustang on Mustang action. Flat. It looks like a tiny lift through Blanchimont. Nico Suave gonna go on the defensive line, parking in a good spot. Tyler Egley gonna take a little bit of a wider berth on entry into bust up there. Gonna remain behind his fellow Mustang compatriot for the time being. But we do have, of course, the Camel Straight ahead of us. Anything can happen as the two drivers approach the braking zone. Nico Suave taking a bit of a compromised line. Gonna make his exit not as good, possibly, as Tyler Egley. Tyler's was a little bit sharper. Looks like there's another death. I think it was Renaoki, but we're gonna hop back on board with the Mustang here. Let's see. Yep, flat through here. Oh my god, it looked a little bit sketchy for Tyler Egley, taking a little bit too much bump there. And I think that's going to compromise his top speed as Nico Suave just walks away from him on the Camel. We have some action here. Porsche on Porsche, Mustang on Mustang. We have it all here in SRA in Division 2. We got Ramon Lorenzo being passed by Sean Williams. Sean Williams, of course, having that little bit of a moment. Looked like a turn 1 on lap 2. Now trying to make up as many positions as possible. Looks like Kevin Kovac has stayed in the race, so good to see that. A couple of drivers keeping their heads on their head. What happened to Martin Smith? That is a great question. He is in the pits, so I believe he's trying to pull the massive blinder. Massive blinder of an undercut. We'll see where he kind of exits once the pit cycle is completed. I believe he was at the start of the race in P12, so we'll see where he is. Any questions? We got Mac Morgan. Mac Morgan is still driving. Was in the pits. So he is still driving. That's good. Good to see it. Martin Riggs as well. Stationary. I don't think he is driving, however. Honestly, I don't blame him. Couple bits, a little bit of fighting here with Juan Carlo getting past Shane Lewis. Shane Lewis, of course, the other half of the BMW team. His teammate is sitting in P2 with Michael Jeffries, trying to catch up to Mason Moffitt again. Mason Moffitt holding the fastest lap of a 2:17.8, so very, very strong pace for Mason. I must say, 17.8 is pretty quick. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because the top 5 are roughly about the same pace. We're seeing Moffitt and Jeffries start to pull away a bit from Kreska, Morgan, and Bulis. But all 5 of those guys are, except for this past lap, as I'm not talking about it, of course, they were putting in lap times that were about 0.7 of a second quicker than the rest of the field. So top 5 were pulling away a bit, where my King has then fallen off is that Danubus would pull off a little bit slower. But good lap times in the top 5. Chaos in the back.
Dare I
say a 296 moment. There it is.
F part 1.
Radion 296 victim.
Yeah, that's
Brutal.
I was saying in the post race debrief from from D1 last night is that when Spa's on the look at the Lexus just roar past the BMW. That's insane. I was just saying that SRA admins, when they announce that Spa's on the calendar, they have to make a special like driver discretion warning. Hey guys, if you plan on driving the 296, Spa's on the calendar. You know, proceed with caution.
I was not given this warning.
I'm sorry about that.
Just saying. But it's okay. The livery was destined to be shown, no matter
the Doofenshmirtz.
the hurdles that it had to overcome.
The Doofenshmirtz. Hey, can we give us a quick update on what the livery theme is, Jack? Because I feel like maybe some newcomer viewers are in the chat. Maybe they don't know.
Yeah, of course. So this season's livery was it dynamic rivals or iconic rivals? That's what it was.
Might as well be dynamic.
Iconic rivals. So two things that are iconically fighting each other. In this case, with the Mustangs, we see one of the beer brands, which I believe is Coors, and then there is a Bud Light Mustang out there. As deep dive into the final chicane actually makes it stick.
Wow, what a move!
Is he going to cut back? No, he looks like he's going to hold it. Tyler Egley with a wonderful move going into the bus stop. He's going to hold the inside for T1. Make Nico Suave think about going, maybe doing it front to back. Give him a nudge. Just to make sure he's there. But that'll work. And is that a flash as well?
I don't know about that, Nico. Listen, you got one more straight to make it happen on Tyler Egley. Look at it, pinned all the way flat. Looks like Nico's got it under control through Eau Rouge. He's right on him. He's gonna take the inside, of course, but the side draft is gonna. Oh no, Ian Byron's yellow flagged. I think that's on exit of Radion, and he's done. But still, we're gonna see some side by side. Oh, the over under. Tyler Egley goes a little bit deep. Parks it on the exit, and Nico Suave is going to dive up the inside. Tyler leaves the room. That's going to invite a couple of drivers behind. I don't think that's Tristan Zamora on track, but he's not actually racing them on the lead lap. But Sean Kersey was very eager to get past this blue flag. Tristan Zamora. Is he going to let him by anytime soon? Well, he has a lap to do so, according to the rules. If you are blue flagged in the race, the second the blue flags start, if you are within 1 second for the rest of the lap until that very point where you were started to be blue flagged, you will receive a penalty. So Tristan Zamora has to seek position 2. Sean Curcio within, I would assume, a couple of corners. It looks like Tristan Zamora is also trying to get past Nico Suave because he's on an alternate strategy. He's on fresh tires. So yeah, it's a little bit of a kind of a limbo game for Zamora here. Of course, sandwiched between two cars that are still racing for position on the lead lap, but he's got his own race to worry about. So it's a little bit annoying for all parties involved. John Williams still making good work passing Ren Aoki there. So Ren, one of those drivers that's made up 21 spots at the start of the race from P48 now to P27. Let's see who else. Looking at the top 15, we have Justin McKechnie into P12, starting in P26. So up a lot of positions, of course, benefited from that lap 1 accident. And we can now see the livery. If you don't know who that is on the car, it's kind of hard to see from there. But that is, if you know, you know, it's Giovanni's Italian Deli. Get about it. Yep. I think Adam knows, right? You know who it is.
Enough things.
I unfortunately did not get the reference.
If it ain't bleeding milk, send it back. Fresh made every day. I'm sure Arjun, Justin, and Ponzo love that.
He sounds like a lovely fellow.
Oh, he is. He's fantastic. So, a couple of drivers into the pits. We're nearing a third of the way through the race already. Spa is kind of one of those tracks, kind of opposite to Suzuka, where the laps kind of just continue pouring on. You're always so busy trying to manage the car that We're already 20 minutes in, so a lot has happened. Thomas Olhausen starting from P11 up 2 spots into P9, fighting for that P8 spot. So Sean Curcio, looks like Tristan Zamora is still within that second of, yeah, you can see the blue flags of marshals waving it on the right there at the apex of No Name. So yeah, it's still there as well. I wonder if, of course, the rules dictate you gotta let the guy by, but of course Sean maybe isn't too bothered because Tristan maybe is fast enough to keeping the gap ahead of him, trying to pressure Nico Suave unwantingly as Nico's trying to catch back up to Tyler Egley. Oh, a little bit wide there, and the flash is out, kind of signaling to the Porsche, hey, please let me by, that it's time for me to go. He's gonna make a dive, so yeah, he's gonna
Gonna make it stick there. Might have had Anton disappear briefly.
What happened?
But you're back. All right.
I'm
You just
here?
cut off just briefly. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Just the end of your sentence cut off there.
Yeah,
But
I
all
wasn't
good?
sure if it was me or it's like, what is happening?
Yeah, my microphone be doing that.
I was beginning to
Oh,
wonder
I don't-
though if Sean Curcio was kind of in the mindset of if Tristan is quick enough, can he annoy Nico Suave for me, and then I can tip up the inside as he gets him off pace. But Tristan not able to stick with it, and Sean Curcio says, "I would like to give it a go myself."
Here's that Pat Cockcroft action that was promised to you about 10 minutes ago, trying to make a pass on Bearded Badass, who is on the inside for La Source. The Porsche is going to have the outside line, going to try to get on the power as early as possible, but the outside line just a little bit longer, but does have more room to accelerate. They might be side by side. Could we have, dare I say, a big one heading into Eau Rouge? And it's going to be not at the moment. Pat is going to tuck into the slipstream again of the driver. He's fighting for position. Jess Osborne, you can see in P27 into the pit lane. Is the Porsche gonna catch in the straight? Looks like it's got a little bit of tug on it. In the slipstream of Bearded Badass, he's gonna go to the outside, trying to overtake the long way into Lake Home. Tries to pull the over-under, but just beautifully defended for Bearded Badass, putting the car where he needed to put it, and keeps the position for the time being.
Yeah, that one's always going to be hard in the Porsche versus a Mustang.
Oh, no,
Looks
no.
like
Oh my god.
Catch, Pat.
Yeah, as Pat just barely loses it and managed to catch it. It looked like Pat did have a better run through Eau Rouge and Radion, but it just still wasn't quite enough to get the position.
Let's hop back up with the leading pack. Of course, Mason Moffat and Michael Jeffries both have checked out from the third place car that has Paulo Cresca, so maybe the undercut from P3 and P4. I'm not going to do too much on these two guys, but Michael Jeffries still totally in play, or possibly an undercut right here, which he doesn't go for, but he will be getting closer and closer to kind of falling into that slipstream of Mason Moffat ahead of him. Maybe Mason's struggling on the tires. The last lap for him, 18.8. Meanwhile, Michael Jeffries, 7/10 quicker last go around. So definitely closing up. Mason Moffat might be starting to feel the pressure, feeling the wear on those tires. A little bit of a slide there for the coach as he tries to get a good run, but not this time around. As BMW is a little bit iffy on traction. It's up on board with Ryan Garrity. Didn't see too much of him. Of course, him and Nico Suave. Oh, DJ Watts with the drive-through in P19. So there you go. Not even halfway through the race. The drive-throughs and the track limits are starting to catch some drivers out.
And I don't think it's going to be the last one we see tonight. It is way too easy to get cuts here, and all it takes is a fourth one, and you got a very long drive-through
Yeah.
to deal with.
Yep. What's it, like 92 seconds or something?
Yeah,
Around that.
something ridiculous.
Something I don't want to deal with, per se. You know? Ryan Garrity's still on the tail of Mike Gino here. It's pretty hard to follow, especially with the tires being worn in this section. I imagine Mike Gino a little bit snappy on exit there. But yeah, a lot of the drivers are probably going to be considering coming into the pit lane sooner rather than later, especially when you're kind of tucked behind another car like this, as Ryan Garrity is, maybe you think he's a bit faster, right? Of course, the two are pretty evenly matched. Mike Gino struggling on exit there from No Name. It's going to invite Ryan Garrity ever so slightly to the inside, but thinks better of it. Mike Gino going to maintain that outside line and maintains the spot for the time being, but strategy might come into play. We see back onto the battle for the lead. Michael Jeffries actually a lot closer this time around than last lap. About 0.3 seconds, now 0.2, as he is in the toe of the McLaren. The McLaren just punching a hole through the air, heading to Blanchimont, having maybe a little bit of a lift there, but the BMW is still catching. The signal is on for Mason Moffitt, which means he's coming into the pits. Michael Jeffries, probably in his best interest to not follow him. There you go. So Mason Moffitt into the pits, kind of blinking first of the two. Maybe Michael Jeffries is going to have a solid in-lap. Maybe this is the time for him to show us what he's really got. Maybe he was hiding a little bit of pace in that BMW. Now is the time to display it.
Very interesting that Mason Moffitt came in, because I was just thinking that that coach should probably come in and try to do the undercut, especially because he was gaining so much in the last 2 laps. But Mason decides to do it first, try to essentially cover off Coach Jeffries and get the early tire advantage. Now, will it put him back into traffic? That is another question that could be very pivotal for his strategy.
Yeah, we saw a lot of drivers, of course, opting for that early pit, namely with Tristan Zamora being in front of Sean Curcio for maybe a lap and a half or 2. So obviously it's not where you want to be, but it is what it is. A lot of drivers went to pit early because of what happened on lap 1. It's kind of just the nature of racing. A lot of drivers as well opting for that pit. We're still on board with Michael Jeffries. This has got to be the lap where he's got to get a solid delta, tire delta. Maybe the in-lap is going to be the most crucial lap of the race here for the coach of Triple Stint Racing, Michael Jeffries. Right now sitting in P1 at the moment, but as the race is shaping out, Mason Moffitt was leading, still holds the fastest lap of the race from pole position. Effectively still maybe the leader, but it all depends on a couple things. Of course, the pit entry is another thing that matters a lot. And with the pit lane being so long, the pit limiter also comes into play as well, right, guys?
Sure
Yeah,
does.
for sure. I mean, some of these cars, I'm not as familiar with, like, say, the BMW. I think the McLaren does pretty well. I know the Ferrari sits at about 49.8. And I mean, if you're running 90 seconds and your pit limiter is, say, even 0.2 kilometers slower, I'm not going to do the math, but they could have a pretty lasting impact, especially when it's super, super close. We see Coach Jeffries coming in immediately, so it'll be difficult to see if his last lap was as good as it needed to be. Mason Moffitt with a stop time of 1:47, which is pretty average for the most part. So a good pit from Mason, and Coach is just going to have to match.
Yeah, pretty much. I see a couple of other drivers as well, namely the Porsches. The BMW of Shane Lewis actually was 1:46. So, I just saw stop go 30 for Tony Zygmunt. So if you thought the drive-thrus were bad, stop go 30 just adds 30 seconds more to your drive-through, as well as just having to stop the car in your box. It's definitely gonna probably mark the end of the race for Mr. Zygmunt in P26. But of course, name of the game right now, Mason Moffitt. His outlap needs to be good, because as we saw on the timing screens, the BMW maybe has a slight edge on the pit limiter than the McLaren, which is kind of surprising. The McLaren's very, very solid in the pits, gets away well from 0 kph as it goes back up to 50, but maybe the tires just aren't warm enough for Mason on this outlap, and the coach's tires were just good enough to maybe have that in-lap that he so wanted desperately. Quick look at the speed traps. The Aston Martin of Caleb Tenney reached a whopping number of 276 kilometers an hour. I'm gonna guess that's in the toe, because that is diabolical. Because the Aston itself tops out at 281 on the Paul Ricard on the Mistral straight. So that's pretty crazy to think about. Let's find Mr. Coach Jeffries. Mason Moffitt is rounding turn 1 as we speak. The coach is off a little bit slow off the line. but he's going to be on the exit here. Mason Moffitt is going to have, of course, the run heading into Eau Rouge. It's going to be very close between these two, I think. We see the coach
It's gonna be hugely close.
going round, but Mason's going to have that overspeed. He just needs to keep it tidy through here. And he's going to be ahead. I believe that's Coach Jeffries right up ahead. Dare I say, he's not going to get him before the corner. Dare I say Jeffries is in P1. Yep,
Yeah, he's done it.
very comfortably, but
Only
it's not
just.
over. Because Coach Jeffries' tires are still very cold. Mason Moffitt's tires are in a nice window of opportunity for him to strike while the iron is hot. This is the moment. This is where champions are made. Only in round 2 of season 18 in Division 2, but Mason Moffitt has got to find a way past the coach right now. This is the time, because I feel like coach has got some good pace hidden in his pocket somewhere, and I feel like we're going to be hearing a message from him in the booth if he does finish this race in P1. Mason doesn't pass him right here, right now.
Yeah, and it's looking like coach is even starting to pull away already with those cold tires. So must have gotten a really good in lap and a solid pit. I can look at the time briefly. Looking like
It's actually the same.
Pit. Exactly the same, yeah. So the in lap was probably what made the difference. And coach by now probably has pretty warm tires, warm enough to feel comfortable, and he's sitting in a wonderful spot.
Well, it's one thing to attack from P2 to P1. It's a completely different thing to defend from P2. Obviously, being in the lead, especially on a track like this, you want as much of a gap as possible. Well, yeah, if water is wet moment right there, but you know, here the slipstream, especially with Mason's car, the McLaren is so slippy on the straight line. You just want to be as far away from it as possible, especially with the BMW. I don't think, looking at speed traps, the McLaren without a tow is actually 2 kph quicker than the BMW, possibly with the tow. So if Mason can get some good laps in, which he's been showing in the first stint, he's got the pace for it. He's got the purple lap, of course. Maybe we still have a chance for the race win. As we see Michael Jeffries' teammate Shane Lewis with a drive-through of his own, so not ideal. Oh, coach going pretty wide there. That's gonna definitely get a track cut for sure. As we just mentioned, from his teammate getting a limit there. Still a long ways to go, guys.
Yeah, barely halfway through the race.
Yeah.
Big sad Shane Lewis, my new fantasy driver. Fortunate for him.
Let's see, last driver, or this is going to be the new leader of the race at the moment. Daniel Builes not electing to pit 32 minutes into the race, about 33 minutes after this. Trey Morgan, Tyler Egley electing to pit. Looks like Daniel Builes has got a good strangle on that silver P1 at the moment. However, Tyler Egley and Caleb Tenney and possibly a couple of other drivers like Sean Curcio are still in the mix. We saw Sean obviously pitting quite early compared to the other drivers, and looks like Daniel Builes has got the 296 under control.
Anton, sorry to interrupt. We have a change for the lead.
Oh,
Mason Moffitt is ahead of Michael Jeffries.
should we go back? Oh, looks like he went a little bit wide. Wow, I'm depressed I missed that.
I only just caught it, unfortunately, so we didn't get to see it, but yeah, probably went too wide on turn, what is that, 10? And Mason Moffitt would be able to just nip up the inside, so Coach Jeffries now has to go back on the attack. Obviously, he's still very much in the hunt, as we see him in a crazy run coming up to the bus stop. Is he going to look for a sense? It's open, but he pulls off.
I think he made Mason think about it, but Mason was confident on the brakes there, not flinching whatsoever to the dummy attacking move of Michael Jeffries. Of course.
Oh no. Paul Kreska off at the bus stop.
What happened here? Oh no, the BMW just getting too much power to the rear tires at one point. Does a little bit of a 360, gets back on track. Not too much time lost for, I believe this is the Polish driver, Pavel.
Yeah, the former teammate.
There you go, two Polish guys. Adam and
That
Pyle.
looked like I accidentally put my TC to 0 and didn't realize about it or something like that, you know.
Oh,
I was thinking the same exact thing because there was a couple times in practice where you are messing around with the TC and
hold on.
Whoa!
Is coach feeling the pressure? Oh, that's late braking.
Oh,
Oh,
late.
my goodness. Quite lucky that he didn't drive into Mason
out.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's going to make his task ever more daunting, as now the gap to P1, effectively P1, Mason Moffat is now 1.4 seconds. Kevin Kovac, what a recovery drive from him. Of course, on lap 1, crashing with Travis Tatro at the campus corners. And now sitting in P10. So leading the GTR, or actually no, right behind Thomas Olhausen on track in P9, now sitting in P10, Kevin Kovac. What a recovery from him. Honestly, well done. Love to see it.
Yeah. Great work.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw any of the major moves. So he's kind of been silently making his way up, but nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now he's got Mike Gino behind to worry about. I think Kevin's obviously on the much older tires. On these tires for, the better part of 31 minutes now. And he's got another 24 minutes to go. We see a yellow flag. I believe that's going to be Anthony Morera. The new,
Yep.
Maybe he had a little bit of help in his spin there.
Welcome to D2.
Welcome to D2. There you go. Words of wisdom from Jack Cross.
I'm here all week, folks.
And for the rest of the season. That's right.
You're gonna spoil it, but yeah. I might be around.
Well, don't go leaving us yet, Jack, you know?
I don't plan to. I've been enjoying hanging out with my dear friends here, watching some good racing. Always a good time.
Sean Curcio trying to make up as much time as he might lose a couple of positions given his optimistic overtaking maneuver on Travis Tatro earlier in the race, but the Lexus is going to have an opportunity to show what kind of engine, what kind of power it's got underneath the front hood of that car. This is going to follow Nico Suave a little bit of a lift there. I believe that's probably a bit too conservative for him, as he's not even going to be close. I mean, honestly, who am I kidding? Lexus is just going to get even closer than we think. Well, it doesn't look like, I guess the underspeed really affects it.
He won't be passing him, that's for sure. If he wants to get the pass done on the Mustang, he's probably going to need to be a little bit more ballsy through there.
Yeah, Dan, your finish driver has pitted, so there you go. Here you go. Sean Curcio, of course, only doesn't have to worry about Nico Suave ahead of him, but he's also got to think about Thomas Olhausen behind him. Of course, pretty consistent driver in the GTR. In seasons past, of course, as well. Thomas Olhausen going to try to get past Sean Curcio, but maybe he doesn't know that, I mean, depends, of course, if Travis puts the ticket in or not. But we'll see what happens. Of course, long ways to go. Let's see if Sean Curcio can keep the tires from going out from under him. But now everybody has pit. Daniel Bliss is stopped in his box, and now, I believe, moving, but he's got the rest of the pit lane to worry about now. There's a yellow flag of... a little bit scary there for him.
Tristan.
Yeah, Tristan Zamora. Where is he? There he is. Let's see what happened to him. Fighting with... maybe he did that on his own. I don't know. Looks like maybe he got off the brakes a bit too fast.
That almost looked like he was trying to make a move on the outside and just couldn't hold it in the Porsche.
Yeah.
And ended up having a light spin there.
So everybody has pit. It looks like quick update on some other drivers that have pit quite early. Martin Smith, well, a little bit of lag. Don't know what's going on with that? Martin Smith in P36, so quick. What's happening? Yeah, he's not lagging. So that's interesting. The lights have gone out again. I think maybe some other things have happened. Daniel Bulis on exit is sitting in He's got a car in his next to him. Oh, there we go.
This Paulo Kreska just bumped him going into the S's there. So despite Kreska's spin, Daniel still falls behind him. His strategy call of staying out super late is he goes for a dive. Not the best dive. Please don't hold it in the apex.
Good guy, Jack.
And he lets Paulo go by. So his strategy to stay out super late, a little bit questionable, I will say. But he didn't lose any positions. He also didn't gain any.
Didn't gain any. I mean, listen, he's still not in the lead actually for the silver win anymore. Tyler Egley sitting just outside the top step of the podium in P4.
Yeah, so he did lose a position.
I thought I saw him
jumped
through.
both of them, both Kreska and Bulas. Well, I guess they jumped him because of that incident, but But yeah. So interesting strategy call. Interesting dive. I would not recommend a move like that, but we're back underway and all is good.
Like you said, you'll be here all week, right?
Sean Curcio, right up the ass of Nico Suave.
And Lexus is just trying to get past him. Maybe not the best way to make a move here into the braking zone. Nico Suave goes a little bit wide though. It's going to invite Sean Curcio to be ever slightly closer as they approach the next lap. We are now 17 laps into this race, starting our 18th lap right now. Sean Curcio running in P8. Right behind him is Thomas Olhausen. Kevin Kovac not catching up to Thomas Olhausen, all because his tires are much older than everybody else in the grid. So playing the long game, and it's paid off for him quite generously at this moment in time. But Sean Curcio gonna stick it full throttle this time around. He does. Oh no, slight lift there. Maybe just trying to keep it cautious, but I feel like it depends on how many speed tokens he's got left. But maybe if he didn't lift, it would have been a lot closer. I mean, look at the pace he's getting on him now. Could have been a lot closer.
Yeah, and I mean he settled in going into the S's there, and then still actually managed to outbrake himself a little bit. So still isn't out. That has brought Thomas Olhausen in, I think, as you mentioned. So he's sitting right behind Sean Curcio, only about half a second back, as we see some fun. Ryan Garrity getting bumped a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit
off track,
of a bump
holds the position.
Tough racing though with Caleb Tenney there, right behind him. The Flashmaster himself, Justin McKechnie, trying to get some positions, of course, in the Ferrari 488. Oh, not too easy here, I would imagine. I didn't. Maybe tried it for a lap or two, and I was like, yeah, it's been a while since I've driven this car. Don't really want to get into the habit again. So, hopping from one non-meta to the other. You know what I'm saying?
Yup. Quick call out, Michael Jeffries with the fastest lap, last lap at 17:26, so very quick. Gained about 5/10 on Mason Moffitt, so he's now back within a second. That battle for first is still on. We'll see if he can pull off the actual pass rather than the undercut, or overcut, I suppose, in the pits.
These two have been glued together for all race long.
Yeah, and they're pulling away from Trey Morgan in P3. The gap now 11 seconds. So these two are really kind of running away with it. Their own island, battling it out. Neither one able to pull away from the other, which is quite fun.
Always nice to see close battling, especially in these top divisions, because the drivers are obviously very good at what they do. And then that also spells for some very, very entertaining fights to look at. Looks like a blue flag ahead of Mason Moffitt right now. That I believe it's car 223 of Jackson Thomas. A little bit wide there, no name for the Ferrari driver. Mason Moffitt is going to be very eager to get by him as soon as possible. Let's see if there's any sort of holdup. Oh, looks like, oh, Mason Moffat running a little bit wide, and Coach Jeffries possibly gaining maybe a 10th or two just because of that. So not the most ideal situations for Mason, as the time ticks down to about 75% of the race done and dusted. And the BMW is looking ever as menacing behind the rear wing of the McLaren 720S Evo GT3. And the gap is pretty close. Michael Jeffries running quite wide there. We talked about how as the race goes on, the car gets lighter. It's very easy to run wide there. Maybe some track limit possibilities coming into play, but Michael Jeffries edging ever slightly closer to the rear wing of Mason Moffat. Mason's going to go defensive one more time. Michael Jeffries thinking about a move, but electing to stay behind for the time being. We saw Tyler Egley, of course, making a worldy move around the outside, I believe, of Nico Suave earlier on in the race at the very same corner. In the very same car, in the Mustang against Mustang. So it was very nice to see that. Fantastic racing from the ex-D4 champion, or I guess the reigning D4 champion. But look how close Michael Jeffries was to the rear wing of Mason Moffat, just pushing him to the apex of La Source. But now Michael Jeffries is going to try to get a run. Tucking out of the slipstream. Very smart play here for Michael Jeffries, trying to see if he can get as much of a clean run through Radion as he can, a little almost wide. But this is going to be the closest that he's going to be. Pulling out of the slipstream a little bit. Maybe he's just playing with his food right now. Just trying to maybe catch him at the right time. Mason Moffat obviously getting a good enough exit to stay pretty far ahead. A little bit wide there on exit of Lacombe, though, heading into turn 7 here, approaching turn 8 of Brussels. The gap is still coming down and down and down between the two drivers.
Yeah, that move, pulling out of the slipstream as soon as he did, was rather interesting. I've only ever seen something like that if your car was actually overheating, but that's not a thing in ACC. So curious, could be trying to get into Mason's head. I think you could have tried to get in his head later into the corner, rather than as early as he did, but still good fighting, and obviously able to keep it very close through Sector 2, as we have Ren Aoki with an issue in the bus stop. It's going to be a Mercedes moment. Just I'm
this
done.
pulls over. Oh,
wow.
That is not the place to stop.
Trying
Looks
RTG,
like
something
yeah,
happened.
maybe an outside problem. Don't know what that was, but this fight is still not over. We have yet another driver ahead of Mason Moffat. It's actually Philip Mueller, who's maybe lifting a little bit, trying not to impede. Well done. Yeah, no impeding there from the Nissan GTR. And yeah, Michael Jeffries just biding his time. But how much time will he just give up staying behind Mason Moffat? He very clearly has the pace, holding the purple lap time of a 17.2, which is pretty darn fast. Last lap, the two drivers very evenly matched, both setting 18.2s as their lap. But Michael Jeffries, once again, invalid last lap, so maybe pushing a little bit too much on exit of Stavolo 1. Might come back to bite him if he continues to do that. I know it's very difficult to stay inside the limits, especially following another car through it, because the dirty air slightly washes you wide. Even through here, it's quite difficult, but Michael Jeffries is in it to win it. Of course, last week, kind of keeping that Michael Jordan-esque personality, taking things personally for people not picking him and pick these. I think more of the same will be said tonight in the booth if he can get it done on the track. But 11 minutes to go. Maybe this is going to be, from this lap forward, 6 more laps to go. I think the drivers will do 26 laps. That's going to be 6 more opportunities for Michael Jeffries to overtake Mason Moffat a little bit squarely there on exit from Brussels into No Name. He's going to have to get a good exit here. The McLaren rear tire is possibly getting a little bit too much for the young man from Canada, Mason Moffat. Bit of a slide there as well. Yeah, I think the McLaren is starting to struggle a little bit. Maybe this is exactly what Coach Jeffries has been waiting for. It goes wide there, but it remains valid. In the meantime, Justin McKechnie fighting with Juan Caro. These two are side by side through the start of Sector 2. Some fantastic racing. Let's hop onto the TV2 camera. Justin McKechnie goes around the outside and gets the move done. Well done, Justin McKinney. Let's go back and see how this started, and it's not well timed. At least we could see the wonderful face of Giovanni while we're looking at it. How you doing?
A lot of them in that livery.
Well, there are a lot. What there isn't a lot of, though, is time. And Michael Jeffries still 0.2 seconds, 0.3 seconds behind Mason Moffat as they approach the braking zone for bus stop. When will desperation set in? When will the move happen? When will the man nicknamed the coach, the triple stint racing gloves, lick the stamp and send it? When will the courage happen? Well, we have 10 minutes to go, and these laps will tick down very close through turn 1. Is this going to be the time? Michael Jeffries very clearly pressuring Mason Moffat ever so long for this race. It's gonna have it to get a good run, staying in the slipstream this time, not tucking out. Mason Moffat maybe not getting the best run, but Coach Jeffries is getting a good run. Let's hop onto the wing camera of the McLaren and the BMW. The headlights just getting closer and closer in the mirrors of the McLaren. Michael Jeffries gonna take the outside line. Let's hop on above and see Mason Moffat putting the car perfectly, defending for the time being. But for how long?
Yeah, and Coach is being patient. He's putting on the pressure, but at what point is patient too patient? Sticks his nose up a little bit. Certainly, if I were Mason, I mean, I would have been holding off Coach for almost 20 laps now, and despite him being as close as he is, you start to get a little bit confident. You're like, well, yes, he is close, and yes, he is putting pressure on me, but I am proving that I can hold him. And the closer you are, the less I'm even worried about it. So perhaps Coach, in his patience, giving Mason a little bit more the confidence that he needs to hold him off for the remaining laps.
And of course, Mason, much more mature than he was last season, now already a one-time winner this season alone in Division 2. Obviously knows what it takes to get a win in Division 2, but look at this, Michael Jeffries knows just as well. The gap is now 0.1 seconds. I think this is the closest there's ever been. Mason Moffat electing to go the outside, which I don't think is the right line. I really don't think it's the right line, but let's see how courageous these two drivers are. Oh, there is inches separating the two. Mason Moffat keeping it pinned, having Michael Jeffries cede a little bit of track time. Oh, wow. Michael Jeffries probably was not expecting Mason to have the guts to do that, but Mason Moffat, just amazing driving.
What a move. Holding there on the outside, calling out Anton, saying he doesn't think that this is the right line, but I know this is the right line. Sticks it around the outside. Yeah, what do I know? I don't know anything. Able to get, get this guy out of here.
No, yeah, Dan, that was real. That was a clenching butt moment. Oh, hold on. Speaking of moments, repeat moments, Powell Kreska. Same bus stop at the very same corner that proved so treacherous for him earlier in the race. Oh, looks like he had some help from him. Oh, Daniel Builes. Look away, Dan. Not what you want to see. Let's hop back on to this fight.
Ideal. Yeah, there may be some not so happy campers between those two, considering that's the second meeting of them. But going back on to Sean Curcio and Thomas Olhausen. Thomas with a little bit of a shaky Radeon, so I'm not sure if he's going to get the run on the Lexus here.
Lexus is just too strong on the straight line, but under the braking and pretty much everywhere else in Sector 2, I feel like the Nissan just going to have the pace. Oh, he's already pushing him through the two corners after the Kemmel Lacombe. And the Nissan is right there, trying to pick up any scraps, any crumbs that Sean Curcio leaves behind. Maybe a few mistakes happen along the way, but you know, we're all human anyway. Mistakes happen. Sean Curcio trying to keep the GTR behind for the better part of the last maybe 10 laps or so. Now only has 6 minutes left and is still also trying to attack if we come to the front. Nico Suave. Nico Suave has been on these tires for now 26 minutes. These two drivers actually came in basically at the same time and came out at basically the same time. So separated by millimeters the entire race, these two have been. And now Thomas Olhausen has joined the party. I wanted to ask, while we were talking about the fight with these two, Adam, you know, being a top 5 finisher in D1 yourself at Suzuka, how hard is it to, you know, be in the right headspace, you know, understanding that a lot of points are at risk, you know, sometimes necessarily making moves. Speaking of making moves, Thomas Olhausen has gotten past Sean Kersey. Let's hop back on board as Adam, tell us about what it takes to close out a race in the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely got to keep it together, right? Take calculated risk if you need to, but finishing the race is much better than going for a move that might not be there and costing yourself and somebody else's, potentially a lot more people's race. Yeah, just really need to put in the work, be confident in what you're doing, and keep your head on. Keep your eyes forward, right?
You mentioned that you really want to stay in the race. If you are Michael Jeffries here, are you thinking about the championship already? Would you be potentially okay with P2, or are you really you're gonna just send it for P1 regardless?
I'm much happier with P2 than a DNF or 3, 4, 5, or 6. But I'm definitely, if I'm coach, I'm definitely putting the pressure on Mason, and you know, if he handles the pressure as he has been throughout most of this race, great. You know, he deserves the win. Keep it on. You know, don't make it easy on him. I'm not saying that.
Spoken like a true champion.
I'm going for it all the time.
You're Anton.
I'm Anton.
Also spoken like a true champion.
You're damn right. Like Gino, trying to put the pressure on the very, very old tires of Kevin Kovac right here. We're going to be on board with these two guys for a little bit because, you know, Mason and Michael have gotten a lot of the screen time for tonight. We haven't really seen too much. Kevin Kovac, we mentioned his recovery drive earlier. I do want to hop on board again. The slipstream is just too
they're
powerful.
Really close. I was about to call
he's
out.
He's lifting again.
That...
Is he on 3 limits? Do you guys think he's on 3 limits?
I think he might be. I think we've seen at least 2 cuts at the top of Radion. And given how much of a run he's had on Mason a couple times, I wouldn't be surprised if he had a 3rd somewhere else.
Alright, well, we got 2 more laps to go as the drivers have crossed the line with about 3.5 minutes to go, which means they will cross the line next time at under 1 minute, which means, again, it'll be the final lap of the race next time on. Let's see a couple of other drivers fighting for position. Roger Rodriguez scrapping with his good friend Pat Cockcroft in P18 of the Rexy Porsche, his token car. Of course, singular elbow out. Pat has been driving with one arm. Gotta say, what a you know, he's a qualities of a Spartan. You know, he's a warrior. He's powering through the circumstances that he's been given. But Roger Rodriguez trying to get past. Oh, are we seeing a dive up the inside? Thinks better of it. Pat Cockcroft goes to the inside. Roger Rodriguez trying to set up a nice exit. The Mercedes is known for having some good grunt out of corners, but the Porsche also quite strong in that regard. So nothing this time around for the man in P19. But we do have some fighting, or I guess some fighting, quote unquote, between these two. Sean Williams and I believe this is Potts Weaver of Red Eye Racing. Oh, bit of a late send for Sean Williams, goes off track, and yeah, good on Potts for avoiding that. The leader is on the final lap. That is not true. We still have 1 more lap after this, Mr. Spotter. Don't know why you're telling me that. Yeah, this race has really come down to, I think Michael Jeffries has been trying to keep it within the track limits because Mason Moffitt has pulled the gap in this last lap of about 1 second. Now it's down to 0.9, probably down to 0.8 as we approach the bus stop. I think both of them are nursing track limits to the end.
Might be. I mean, with Coach being as far back as he is, this is probably the farthest back he's been since before the pit stops. Probably just going to be thinking about, all right, well, P2, we'll take it. Definitely gave it a good run, but unfortunately was not able to make it stick. But we are in round 2. Still plenty of season left, and definitely don't want to throw away a solid points paying position for a silly send.
I mean, it's not over till it's over. Mason's still got a whole lap to negotiate the worn tires on the McLaren, especially heading down into Eau Rouge right now. I mean, we can see how sketchy it is right now. Who am I getting? The McLaren is planted as always. Yeah, let's see. Oh no!
No.
Oh no, Mike.
What happened?
Did you get on the curb?
Checked up.
Why was Kevin so slow there?
Idea.
Wow,
Yeah.
what?
That's so unfortunate.
This is so sad.
Yeah, that sucks for Mike. He was in a good spot too. With Mason possibly winning another race would have been a huge haul of points for the two drivers. But now I don't even know what just happened. I think it was maybe a Colapinto and Ollie Behrman moment right there. Super clipping. It's in GT3s. But oh, looks like there's some fighting here. Ryan Garrity still trying to defend from actually Ryan Garrity getting past Caro. Wait a minute. Is Kevin Kovac out of fuel?
Oh. Oh my goodness.
He is going very slowly.
I think he's out of fuel.
Yeah, he's got to be on a fuel map. Oh.
Oh no. Nah, man. Not like this. But we are gonna hop on board for the final time. Maybe this is the desperation send that we've all been waiting for the last 60 minutes from Michael Jeffries, pushing every last inch of track limits. Is Michael Jeffries gonna send it? He's gonna think about it. He's definitely gonna make Mason think about it, but it's not gonna be enough as Mason Moffitt is gonna cross the line, a race winner for not just the first time, but the second time in a row. Mason Moffitt crosses the line. Winner in D2, Michael Jeffries taking the fastest lap, but not the victory. Well fought until the very end, and Trey Morgan's going to come across the line, sliding in with joy as he has a redemption race, and Tyler Eggley putting himself in a very solid spot for the Silver Championship. Daniel Builes, and despite maybe a controversial moment with Paulo Kreska, is in P5, P2 in silver overall. Welcome to Division 2, my friend. Nico Suave defends from Thomas Olhausen and Sean Curcio's onslaught for the second stint. Gotta say, Nico Suave has a strong head on his shoulders, was able to defend, and Ryan Garrity gets another spot. I think it's going to be P10 for Mr. Garrity. We already saw Coach Jeffries leave the race, but Ryan Garrity, top 10 finish, couple of drivers flashing to come across the line. Justin McKechnie, of course, being the one and only to do so. Anthony Barrera, no, getting a drive-through on the last lap. That's going to add, I think, 80 or 90 seconds of lap time to his race result. Mike Gino, very, very unfortunately, having to avoid Kevin Kovac's maybe fuel problems on the second to last lap, across the line in P19, that is. So, hate to see it. Hopefully he's going to bounce back stronger for Laguna Seca next week. But still a little bit of racing. Sean Leach is trying to catch Ramon Lorenzo here for P25, or I believe P29 actually. I think it's going to be a bit too far as the drivers are approaching. And of course, who else but Thomas Olhausen doing his little reconnaissance lap. This is my favorite part of the race for Thomas, honestly.
I'm not sure where this tradition stems from.
It's the immersion, dude. Fun. It's the immersion. Because he's in VR, I know that. But it's for the immersion. Yeah. All about the immersion, baby. Look at this guy. Just driving. Look at him. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna ask Kevin and Kovac in the chat what happened, because I'm very confused how he didn't take enough fuel. But the race result, it's not carried over yet. It's going to carry over right now. There we go. Race result, of course, Mason Moffitt winning, and Coach Jeffries right behind him in P2, pushing him to the very, very last, pressuring him for, honestly, the second week in a row. It's been fantastic watching these two duke it out. What a race, guys. I mean, thoughts and impressions, you know, what are we saying?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great one. You summed it up pretty well. It was almost like a rematch of Mason versus Coach, with Coach trying to put on the pressure but just not able to get it done. Obviously, the start of the race was very chaotic, but it settled down after about 15 minutes, and we saw some good battlings. Very impressive overtake by Tyler Egley. But yeah, great race overall.
Yeah, speaking of Tyler, let's actually get him in here because Tyler is our back-to-back silver race winner after pulling an insane move. Tyler, can you hear us? I think it's the same thing as last week. Got his mic away.
Yeah, I've got my
There
default
we
mic
go.
on the wrong one. There we go.
Hello, sir. Welcome to the booth again.
Thank you.
Sort of becoming a habit for you, not just in D4, but now D2. Back-to-back interviews, back-to-back silver wins. Dare I say a gold promotion in the horizon next week? I know I hinted at it last week, but I feel like it's.
I hope not.
It
It might be deserved though.
Yeah, I mean, listen, P4, fantastic result. Maybe a little bit of stroke of luck on your way with Wheelless coming together with the driver ahead, but nothing to take away from you. I just want to point out what a move you had around the outside of Nico Suave at the bus stop. Talk us through that because that was amazing.
Well, I was catching him in the straights, or at least on that straight in particular. He was slow through the kink, and I think I just sent it. He was covering the inside pretty good, so I was like, I'm going. So, and I was able to stick it around the outside, let off the brake a little bit, and got the inside for the next one. We had some contact on T1, but I got light damage, and it actually helped me. So that's
Is that
first.
right? Yeah, I think it actually boosted you a little bit away from him, right? So
It did, and it moved my arrow balance forward by a hair, so I was actually doing better through Eau Rouge and through whatever that beginning of turn 3 or sector 3. So yeah, I was going faster.
well, yeah, nice guy Nico helping out his competitors when he can.
Yeah.
I mean, superb race from you, of course, putting it on silver pole once again. It looked like from the very start that you were the class of the field for the silver class, and I mean, you were there for. I mean, what you had an 8/10 gap until Daniel Builes and Anthony Marrera caught up, and then I believe later on it was a couple of other drivers. I think Sean Curcio got pretty close. Were you believing in yourself from the very start of the race that you felt like you were the silver driver?
I knew the two other silver drivers that qualified right behind me were going to be fast, and then Brulis was very fast, especially at the end of that race. And the only reason I caught him is because he and Prescott, I think, got in a crash. So, and then I can't start a race right now to save my life. So I've been losing positions, then having to fight for them to get them back. So, but yeah, made it back. A little bit of luck.
You're putting up a damn valiant effort to do so, and I gotta say it's very entertaining for us watching, and I imagine it's definitely adrenaline inducing for you, which is exactly what we do this stuff for. Of course, joined again by Jack Krause in the booth this time, but we do have a newcomer, Adam Kolikowski, another Ford driver. Of course, you have the power underneath your hood to get you past on the straights, but next week we don't have a track with a very long straight, a Laguna Seca. How are you feeling about that track? Because it's definitely going to be maybe not as highly technical as Spa is, but it's going to be another race of attrition where a lot of moves may happen from desperation, and it's definitely going to reward those who are more level-headed. So how are we feeling about that?
I think I'm just gonna keep it clean. I don't know if there's anything else I can do. Qualify is gonna be more important, but I'm just qualifying, don't crash. I mean, that's the only reason I ended up in 4th.
There we go. Name of the game. Honestly, not just in G2, but everywhere, right? So,
Yeah. Yep.
all right. Well, Jack, Adam, any questions for our D2 silver winner?
How'd the Mustang feel tonight overall, man? How was it?
Solid. No, I had one track cut on like lap 2 at Eau Rouge, and then I didn't have any more warning, or at least no track cut warnings after that. So yeah, very solid through all the fast corners and balanced where it needed to be. So
Very nice.
And Anton, you stole all my questions, so
All right, you
Hey,
want to
shout-outs.
take the next interview
Still
then?
asking for shout outs.
Yeah, we got
shout outs,
shout-outs.
Tyler? We got shout outs already?
just to you guys, doing this, commentating, running the stream.
Appreciate you. Yeah, it's a good time. We enjoy it.
Good.
It's
All right.
our pleasure. All right, we'll send you back down, Tyler. Fantastic job. Hope to see you next week for the 3-peat.
Thank you.
See
Congrats,
you
man.
later. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sorry about that, Jack. You know,
No, you're not.
no, it's okay.
I'm sorry.
I had some good questions, and you brought up the questions before I did, so all good.
How about you handle this one with Trey? I'll bring him in.
No, I got a good question. You take it.
Oh, okay. Well,
You're not gonna think of my question.
okay. Well, surely I won't take your question. Welcome to the booth, Trey Morgan. Not this time actually as a podium finisher, not as a silver winner. It must be nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very nice, and I actually was, ready for it, so you don't have to wait 5 minutes for me to come back.
There you go. Yeah, I think what was it last time at Kyalami? Like when I interviewed you, I believe.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was E4 right after the
Oh, so close to
the
the
server
podium.
event.
So
Yeah.
close.
Now I'm on the actual podium, so I'll take it.
How does it feel though, in general? The
It feels- Yeah, it feels great. Second podium, I think, ever. I got one at Monza 2 years ago, and it's been a kind of a drought since then. But it felt great. Feel a little bit bad for how I took third place away from my teammate Pavel Kreska, but that's unfortunately how it rolls sometimes. And after last week's, I don't even want to call it a performance. This was a great confidence booster.
We're not going to need to remind the ladies and gentlemen watching at home what happened, because I'm sure you don't want to remember that either. But all that is now behind, and now we're looking forward to the rest of the season. Of course, we do have the drop race. So basically, I mean, starting off with the podium to your possible championship campaign. I know that you and your teammate Pavel were looking very, very fast in qualifying. Of course, locking out the second row of the grid. Any thoughts about the team championship? Because obviously you two looked very fast today. Unfortunately for Pavel, coming together with Daniel Willis at the towards the end of the race. But I mean, it's a long season to go. How are we feeling about the title hopes?
Team championship, I'm feeling really good. Last season and during the endurance race, when we were doing fun races, I knew that we were both similar pace, and then we were both super fast. Obviously, we were not at the same speed at all of Moffitt or Coach, but I think we have a really good chance to, get that, at least get close to the team championship, as long as we're able to keep it clean.
There you go. I know, Jack, you had a question, right?
Yes, I did, and it's related to team stuff. So obviously, you and Pavel were third and fourth early on in the race. Not to spur up any internal animosities, but were there any team orders involved? Especially since there was this juicy podium on the line.
Not really. We didn't talk about it much at the start. We talked a little bit about how we wanted to make sure that obviously we don't want to wreck each other out lap one. So the general plan that he and I had was mostly just, make sure that we don't wreck, maybe try and get a spot if Coach or Moffitt had a bad start, but mainly just try and keep the Mustangs behind us and keep them behind us for the race start. And it worked out pretty well. I knew he was a little bit faster than me, just from our practice that we'd done together. So I don't think, we didn't really have any, if you're ahead at this point, you can stay ahead. It was just have fun racing each other and don't crash into each other.
That's fair.
And we managed to not crash into each other, so I'll take it.
There were crashes, but not into each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what matters.
There were quite a few at the start of the race. You'd have to look back. Some of, you're talking to three stewards here along with commentators. There were moments in the booth where we were like, 110. So, yeah, definitely something to look back at. Speaking of, I mean, how did it feel? Of course, going into a race, and I know Spa is one of those tracks along with Wet Monza that everyone's kind of like looking at and dreading. Oh, please don't get into an incident. Please don't get into an incident. How are you feeling about the rest of the calendar? We have Laguna, and right after it, we have Wet Monza. How are we feeling?
I like the tracks that we're racing at. Like Laguna is one of my favorite tracks in general, just because of the corkscrew, and watching IndyCar race there is a lot of fun, as well as other series. But I'm not very confident in most of the calendar. I've not raced at Donington. Most of my COTA races haven't gone very well for various reasons, and while I really like racing at Hungaroring and Nürburgring, I've not had good luck there yet. So hopefully we can change that up.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, here's
yeah.
hoping, right?
I believe.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I know Dan believes you're on his fantasy team, so.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, you are.
He picked me in the second round right before it was my choice to pick myself, and I was a little miffed by that. But also I was like, oh my god, someone fast is actually like, I don't know if believes in me is the correct terminology, but he at least thinks that I'll do good for him in fantasy. That was an oh my god, I have a chance, and oh my god, I have someone actually thinks of me of something for both good and bad. So it puts more pressure on, but it's a lot of fun.
Interesting approach, I must say. When Dan had me in my first season in SRA, I didn't even think about fantasy, so.
Well, being in fantasy and being a part of that puts it a little bit more.
Yeah,
to the forefront.
it's good fun. We love doing it around here.
Exactly.
Anyway, Trey, not going to keep you here for much longer. We got a couple of more interviews to get through. Yeah, as a commentator yourself. But as always, any shout outs you'd like to make before we send you back?
Yeah, so I'll give a shout out to my teammate, Pavel Kreska. We practiced a lot doing side-by-side racing, which I think helped us there in the beginning because we both knew how each other took the corners. Shout out to my brother, Mac Morgan, who I've not had a chance to see how his race went, but I don't think it went well given he did like 10 laps of practice.
That wasn't the reason it went poorly.
No. Well, I'll look at it later then. Shout out to my mom and dad. I know that my dad, I think, was watching for most of it.
Yeah, he said, way to go.
Yeah, there we go. And then I'll go ahead and shout out Mason Moffat, because we were talking beforehand, and he gave me like one or two tips before we got into qualifying. And lastly, Break Late, Pray Hard, my whole conglomerate. We did pretty good in D2. We're doing good in D3. So, here's hoping for the rest of the season.
All right. Cheers to that. We'll send you back down, Trey. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. A man of many words, Trey Morgan. Obviously a commentator himself, streams, I believe, Division 3 with Sirius VG, which you could have watched yesterday at the same time over on YouTube. But kind of speaking through the interviews, Jack, I hope I didn't step on your toes there again with questions.
Nope, I got my beautiful question in. I wanted to spur a little bit of drama, and I didn't get that much drama.
Love it.
All good.
Dirty pot.
Adam, you got any questions? I want to hear your talk.
I asked a couple on the first one.
Yeah, you did. That's
I
right.
was gonna tell Trey that I also believed in him and picked him for my pick D. So thanks for the points. I didn't get to tell him, but maybe if he
Where is the
watches this back,
coach?
he'll hear. Is he evading us?
I don't see him in the chat, unless I'm blind. Coach, where are you, man?
Perhaps he wasn't quite as happy with P2 as we might have thought.
I mean, I don't expect you guys to know as, non-champions. I would have been pretty upset. I'm kidding. Just shooting it with you guys. You're my friends. I can do that, right? Right? Maybe. No.
Crickets.
There's nobody else listening to this. It's just the three of us here.
I personally would have been ecstatic with P2, especially for the second round. I mean, obviously Mason Moffat gets 2 first, so he's got a 20-point lead now, but it sets you up good for the season. I mean, that's how I started my last season, and we all know how that went for the most part.
Yep.
It went well until the end.
Wow. All right, not to rub it in any longer, let's actually just get Mason Moffat in here. Mason, welcome to the booth. You are talking now, not in the live, or I guess in the live stream now. So welcome. Back-to-back winner. Dare I say, already kind of close to being a lock for the championship? I mean, pretty good start to the season, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. I don't think I'm a lock yet. I think Coach is going to be a great fight through the season. I can already tell.
Yeah, talk about. Of course, you were leading and won the first race of the season. You guys looked to be pretty close at Suzuka, but it looked to be even closer. I mean, we saw you take the outside line around Blanchemont. I didn't think it was the right line at the time, as Jack Krause very conveniently pointed out, and he was like, "Well, Mason knows better than I do." And you went around the outside and you kept the position. I mean, talk about the kind of mindset that you were in at the second stint, because he did end up ahead of you after the pit cycle, and then you were able to pass. Unfortunately, I didn't get it on camera because I thought that he would just keep the position for the next 2 laps, and then he made a mistake. But I mean, he was hunting you down for the last 25 minutes. So how was that, having a BMW in your mirrors?
Yeah, so he was much faster on with the tires. I was using the tires way faster. So I was coming out of the pits at the start of the race, and I was doing faster laps. But then a few laps in, he would just get faster and faster. I would get slower and slower. So I knew coming out of the pits that I only had a few lap window to get an overtake done, and then I can try to defend for the rest of the race, or else I wasn't going to be able to pass him and win the race. So I saw the opportunity, decided to send a move down the inside, and luckily it worked out, and I could defend him off for the last 20-ish minutes.
Yeah, you were talking about, of course, you guys pit at roughly the same time. You blinked first in terms of the strategy. Was it always going to be the move, or were you kind of just tired of waiting for him to blink first, and then decided, you know what, I feel like I have the pace on the outlet. Maybe I'll decide to go into pits first. So what went into that thought process?
Honestly, I was doing fine pace, and then all of a sudden my tires just dropped off a cliff, and I was losing like 0.6 a lap to him. So I was like, all right, one more lap and I'm gonna pit, and then I pitted to avoid losing any more time. He jumped me in the pits. I think it's because I didn't practice pit entry enough, and I slowed down a little too early. But yeah, I was losing too much time, so I decided to pit.
Oh, it looked like it was maybe the right time. I think Coach Jeffries had a maybe slightly better in lap. You guys were stopped at roughly around the same amount of time in the pits. We were talking about maybe it would have been decided by the pit limiter. I know the McLaren has quite a good one. Maybe the BMW has one as well. But honestly, those tiny differences in timing make the entire story of the race kind of fold into one page at the end, which ended with you crossing line a winner once again. How are you feeling about Laguna Seca and your chances for maybe going for a turkey for 3 in a row?
Well, I'm going to try my best. I know Laguna isn't my favorite or best track, and I know it's not good the McLaren's not the best here compared to Spa or so. I'll try my best, put in some laps, see where I can be at. But that's the goal.
Boys, any questions for Mason? Of course, we're not joined by Donovan, but by Adam Kolakowski. So replace one D1 Mustang driver with another one. So any questions for our 2-time race winner?
How are you feeling for the season, Mason?
Well, I'm feeling very stressed out. I think that I think it's going to be like this the whole time. I think me and Coach are going to be fighting almost every race. I think there will be some other variables thrown in, but yeah, I think we're going to be fighting till the very end. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we are too, for sure.
So am I, yeah.
And speaking of the fighting, obviously you had Coach very close to you for almost the entire second stint. Was there ever a point in time that you almost felt comfortable with him there? Because he wasn't making as many moves as maybe some other people might try to do.
Yeah, he was being very he was responsible with the overtake attempts and like no dive bombs. It was very great racing from him, and I was telling myself I was very stressed out. I was telling myself I did this last season where I'm defending from cars for half an hour, 20 minutes, and I kept telling myself that I can do it again, and ended up getting in my head, and it worked out. So yeah, I was after a bit, I was getting more used to him. But every time he would get really, really close, and I would peak stress again.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point, especially with last season, because I remember there were quite a few races where you were a bit of the head of the train, but managed to hold off a horde of people. So I'm sure that definitely helps in this particular instance. Obviously, you're saying that you're stressed, but it really looked like you were driving pretty faultlessly. So very impressed.
Thank you.
Any shout outs before we send you back down?
Yeah, my of course my parents, and then today I want to shout out Michael Jeffries, of course, for that amazing race. He treated me tonight to an amazing drive, and that was just a blast for him. So thank you.
All right, we'll send you back down. Have a good night, Mason.
All right, have a good night.
Well, I don't know if I think he meant to say that it was a pleasure racing him, not that it was a pleasure for Jeffries to finish P2 behind him, because I'm assuming he doesn't want to interview because of that very reason. But, you know, Mason humble as ever. Of course, previously almost a D4 champion, kind of fell away in the last race of the season at Imola all those seasons ago. Maybe this is some redemption for him. Maybe this is the time when he finally gets to do a shoey. Or I guess in his case, I know that he's a young man. I don't think he's going to be doing it with any sort of alcohol, but that's okay, as long as it's all about the process, the execution of said shoey, right? Anyway, I'm definitely speaking way too early about it.
Alcohol-free beers.
That's true, yeah. I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
I did a shoey with an alcohol-free beer.
There you go.
Nice. But I don't want to spread any bad omens to our drivers fighting for the championship. Of course, going to go over the schedule. Rounding out in April, of course, we finish with Suzuka and Spa. We're going to head into sunny California. It's going to be racing on quite the hot surface next week at Laguna Seca. I believe the race conditions 30 degrees Celsius in the air, and the track is 37 degrees Celsius. So the tires are going to be, yeah, Adam's already disappointed. Oh, yeah, I am also disappointed. I'm not going to lie. But it should still make for a fun race. I know the drivers will be suffering, but us as commentators and yes, as drivers as well, should have a fun time racing each other, which I'm excited for. But don't go anywhere. Of course, we are also racing for the rest of the season. The following weeks after, have a little bit of a break after Donington Park, of course, for Memorial Day week. But if you do want to see some other streams, we are also streaming Division 4 over on YouTube on the Sim Racing Alliance YouTube channel. Same time, 9 p.m. on Wednesdays, just as we do on D2 on Twitch and YouTube. And also we have streams of D1 and D3 on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch and on YouTube. So if you do enjoy watching us do some sim racing, some commentary, some banter, do make sure to go check out those commentaries as well. They have an amazing time there. But without further ado, of course, boys and girls, I've been Anton Richards, joined by Adam and Jack. Any last words before we sign us out?
Appreciate you guys having me up here tonight. Good time.
Oh, yeah. Was a good time. Jack, man of many words.
Yeah, absolutely.
There it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
He did it. He did it. Well, in honor of Donovan
Thanks
Colton.
for not showing up, Donovan.
All right. We will see you guys next week. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Okay. SRA. Bye.
When I was just a new driver, I asked Coach Jeffries, what will I be? Will I be speedy? Will I crash out? Here's what he said.